Hey everybody, I just had another workout epiphany. This seems to happen to me regularly. My name is Kaeleya Rayne and I am an intuitive business coach, and I work with women who are in business and who are driven to make the business work and show up and make a difference on this planet, show up all in. So I had this conversation with my husband this morning, Timothy Risley, about something that he's been studying with Garrett J. White, who is his coach. And I wanted to talk about it. I'm moving around, excuse me, because it shows my connection is weak again. I wanted to talk about it because I had an epiphany about it. And basically what happened was, what tends to happen, just to be vulnerable, is that, we've been together for a long time, we get along really well. But when we're not on the same page, we start bouncing off of each other like staccato energy, right? And hey, thanks for the thumbs up. And so what typically happens, because, we're interested in working it out, is we identify, okay, what's going on? It's either a power struggle or, something's going on. And then we have an argument and we play nice. We don't play dirty, so no damage is done. And then we have insights and we have like a drop in to the next level, and we get, as Tim calls it, what he learned from Garrett, I think, is that you get the gift you get is the lift afterwards. But the point is that we were talking about overcompensating and really kind of coming at it from very different points of view. Like he said, you'll typically overcompensate, or excuse me, what he said was overestimate who you are, what you can do, how good you are. You might think that you can hit a 90, but really you're more like an 83. And so the person in me who works with women, who's like consistently working with women and helping them identify where their strengths are and how much stronger and actually how much enough they really are, I was like, that's crap. I mean, what are you talking about? Because he said, basically, we're really not enough. We're not as much as we think. We're not as good as we think we are. And so after I listened for a moment and stopped resisting what he was saying, I realized that what he was talking about was not about not being enough valuable in the sense of who you are intrinsically, but not actually potentially being enough at your skill set, like not as strong as you think you are, or as fast as you are, or as efficient as you are, or as great as you might think you might be. And so he took the baby to school and I was left here, and I just felt this like deep sense of sorrow around what he was saying, because I felt into it further than what we were talking about. And I had this epiphany, and then I wanted to share it after I finished my workout, and then it turned into this whole other thing that just is so important, I think. Which is this recognition that I think a lot of the reason we overcompensate and think that we're better than we are is potentially because we really don't and aren't sure that we are enough. So we kind of like pump up our view of ourselves so that we can actually feel good about ourselves. And it seemed so sad to me when I realized that. And I know it's human and we do it. It's what we do. We question who we are. We question how strong we are. We question, are we enough? Can we do it? Are we strong enough? Do we have a right to it? Can we make it happen? But what started to happen as I was preparing for this show is I started having this conversation with my daughter, who's 7 and is now, at school, obviously, and her classmates are hearing things that are happening on the news. So this is really new. And was just terrified about some of the things that were coming up on the news, and wanted to talk about it. And, we have a big thing with her about busting fears, like just claiming it and busting through the fear. And I just realized that this frickin' world is like, there's so much shit going on, excuse my language. There's so many people who are desperate to know that they're valuable, and they're doing things that are from that place. And I'm not insinuating in any shape, way, or form that these people are necessarily healthy, the ones that do the really horrifying things. But the point is that if we are really affecting each other and we're all really connected, right? Like there's a cosmic flow, there is a consciousness that is experienced right? On this planet, in the cities we live in the countries we live in. I mean, we experience each other. We can feel each other, right? I mean, people, there have been times when we have grieved as a nation, over things that have happened that have been terrible, or grieved for other nations. We feel other people's pain and sorrow. And so in the same way, if we reverse it, my thought is, well, can't we also feel other people's flow energy? Yes, of course we can, right? We can also feel other people's capacity to bypass their projection, that they're not enough, and then, doing things that just forget the horrifying things that show up on the news, but actually just undermining a marriage, undermining a business, undermining their team members, who then go home and take that energy to their families or within themselves and don't get to be a part of, or don't know how to be a part of, that flow energy. And so I realized, and I want to keep this quick and raw. I know everybody's really busy. It's dinner time in a lot of the places that people are listening in right now. But the point is this, the point is that, I work with business owners, and, the focus is income generation and deepened sense of self and conscious leadership. That's the focus. And there's a reason for that. The reason for that is that I believe with all my heart that we can have generational peace globally, and that it's up to the business owners to be consciously using practices, consciously working their energy, not projecting and barfing on their team members or their partners or their husbands and wives at home, their families, like learning how to operate as a powerhouse, learning how to bypass and cross through the thresholds that make you think you suck when you don't, that actually help you also be more realistic about, like, what, I'm not as fast as I think I am. I might need help, or I'm not as efficient as I am. But it doesn't have to intimidate our entire value and reason for being. Like, we just need to be stronger and more freaking connected to how powerful we really are. I think, this is what I really wanted to get to today, was do the work of accepting that you're valuable. Okay? Do the work. Figure out, where are you projecting your crap onto other people that you think they're thinking about you, that they're not thinking about you. They're not thinking it. You're thinking it. And you're projecting it onto them. And then you're being weird around them, or you're not as honest with your team members, or your family, or your husband and your wife, or whatever it is. Find a way to dig deeper. Find a way to just figure out the truth about what it is that you think is going on that isn't going on. It's an old story. It's an old game, right? It's an old game. And when you look at the history of this planet, we have been at odds for pretty much as long as human beings have been in existence, from what we see from the history books anyway, right? And what we see from, just so much of our history as human beings has been in this kind of intimidatory, it's not really a word, but this need to intimidate. And I think that comes from lack, right? I don't care what religion somebody has. I'm not intimidated by it. I don't care. I could care less. I work with people of all kinds. I don't care. What I'm interested in is helping them get out of their way. I'm not intimidated by what they believe in, or who they believe in, and what practices they follow. I'm interested in them being conscious business owners, right? So I just want to appeal to you, if you're watching this. You may never work with me, or have never seen me before or again. But if you're watching this, find a way to dig deeper, to accept and acknowledge that you're worth more than you think you are, and stop playing the overcompensation game. Stop playing the cold shoulder game and all that crap that just those layers that come between us and other people. We're going to need each other. I've been saying this for a long time. We're going to need each other. We're going to need each other's brilliance. We're going to need each other in the coming years. We've kind of made a mess of the planet. I'm sure you noticed, right? Our intelligence, our brilliance, we're going to need it. And we're going to need to join and find a way to bypass the crap that keeps us down within the self. So just going to let it be at that. Just, you know, like I said, you're worth more than you think you are. And you matter more than you know. And what you have to bring to the planet matters. So get out of your way. Stop being intimidated. Stop overcompensating. Do the work. Figure out the truth. You're worth a lot. You're worth more than you know. Just accept it. Let it go. And do the work of figuring out, am I projecting my crap onto that person? Because every time I'm around them, I feel weird. Or every time my husband says this or my wife says that, my bristle goes up. Well, why? Why? What is it in you that's holding you back? That makes you think that something's going on that really isn't. It's all an illusion. Okay, rant over. Wish all of you guys the best, and as always, please feel free to comment. Happy to comment and communicate with all of you after the video is live or on the video, and appreciate you watching and paying attention. And one thing that comes up, like, well, I can just imagine some of you are saying, like, well, what's the first step, right? First step is take time for you. Get outside, go for a walk, listen to your breath, get quiet. You find yourself in the quiet. You find your voice in the quiet. Listen. Listen to the voice in you that says you're enough already. You're enough. Blessings from here, and I'll see you guys here on Friday. Blessings.